Good afternoon, everybody. It's Darren at JS Media Music, and today I am joined by one of the most powerful voices in the Canadian music scene. I've known her for a long time. We always have good, candid chats. Please welcome the fabulous Samantha Martin from Samantha Martin and the Delta Sugar.
Well, thank
Samantha,
you.
how are you?
I am well. I am very good. All things considered, we're just trucking along now. So,
So, what have you been doing since the last time we chatted? Because obviously you've just came out with this coming out with this new album. Have you
yeah.
been doing music in the time? Have you been concentrating on motherhood? Have you just been doing what you do?
Well, it's been a little from column A, a little from column B. I'm the last time we spoke was in 2020, like the last time we did like a formal kind of interview. And a lot has happened, obviously. First of all, that pandemic dragged on a little longer, I think, than anybody had
Yeah,
anticipated.
yes,
Um, so the timing of that record was a little bit wasted, as far as because we couldn't tour it as much as we
yeah,
wanted to before the album cycle was kind of over. But at the same time, we had to put so much money into publicity because we weren't able to tour it. So it was like the most expensive record as far as a marketing budget was concerned, because we just had no other choice but to spend that money,
yeah.
trying to get it in the right people's hands. So, we did do two European tours, one in 2021 and one in 2022, the like May, June of 2022. And then I got pregnant in July of 2022. And like it wasn't a an oops. We were trying. But like I'm well at the time I was like in my late 30s. So, trying took a little bit
Yeah,
longer. My
yeah.
eggs were dusty or something. I don't know. And
Hiding somewhere.
they were hiding. They were just like, I don't know. But it finally took in July, and I was pregnant. And then I finished out some of the tours that summer, and we had the final tour that had been postponed because of the pandemic took place in November 2022. And that's where this live record sort of was captured.
Yeah,
And then it lived on a hard drive because I had a baby. And although all my best intentions were to, have pop this baby out and then get back to it, things didn't happen that way. And that's the way life goes sometimes. And
absolutely.
I really, I don't know if I like purposely dug into motherhood or if I just kind of felt like I didn't have any other choice. Like I just basically I I had this baby. He is the cutest thing that I've ever seen, and he's mine. And my sole purpose on this planet had very quickly become keep the baby alive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that really, keeping a baby alive is no joke. You got there's a lot to do. And I between motherhood and sort of like a pandemic hangover kind of thing of trying to do things while the pandemic was still
Yeah,
happening was really stressful. And I feel like when I had Nico, I just gave myself the permission to just
yeah, yeah, yeah.
focus and
Sometimes you
do
have to.
that.
Yeah,
And then I was so burnt out from the pandemic and having a baby, I was not very inspired to write a new record. And like a lot of the songs that I was writing was like, well, there's another ballad There's
Yeah.
another lullaby. There's another, and I was
Kids
like,
will
that's
do
not
that
really
to you,
me.
Samantha. Kids will do that. You start writing soppy shit, and people go,
Yeah.
"What you
And
do?"
I was talking with Renan, and I was just like, I don't think these are the songs for the next record. And he's like, well, they're good songs. And I was like, yeah, but I feel like if I come back with this record,
Yeah,
people are gonna be like, what the hell happened? She's
yeah.
soft,
Yeah.
and
She
so I
was
just
in a
needed.
cave somewhere and never came out until she wrote 10 ballads, and people are like, it's not the Samantha Martin we know.
Yeah, exactly. And like some of those earlier songs made it because they are just really good songs. But we've been recording the new record. Now it, 6 years later, the next
Yeah.
studio record. So the I knew that it was taking me a really long time to kind of like feel happy with the songs that I was writing for the record. And I know that it's been 6 years and that people have been waiting. And I just thought,
Patiently,
yeah, very
patiently.
patiently. Some not so much. Some are like, some people message me on like social media or whatever. They're like, hey, what the hell's going on? It's been six
Yeah.
years. But yeah, I finally started like thinking, okay, I think I have got the next record, studio record. And then we were doing a show last summer where I needed a cover version
Okay.
of, I think it was Loving Cup, because I wanted to pull that song back out for a festival set that we were doing. But we had a sub saxophone player playing in the band, and we had changed the arrangement. So I wanted him to be able to hear the arrangement of how we had done Loving Cup. And so I went digging back through the hard drive with all my live shows that have been recorded on it. And I found that tour, and specifically the Maple Ridge show that we had recorded. And I was like, wow, that's a really good version of that song. I wonder what the rest of the show sounded like.
Yeah.
And because I don't know if people kind of know, but like when you're on stage, there's a little bit of a disconnect from reality,
Yeah.
for an artist, for musicians, that sort of thing, where you've played the show so many times, or you've played the song so many times,
Yeah.
that you're on a little bit of an autopilot in a way, because it's second nature.
Yeah.
And then but then there's also this like where you're floating a little bit above it, that transcendent kind of, for lack of a better word or more accurate word, transcendence,
Yeah.
where it sort of the song or the music or the show just sort of takes over.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you forget, the feeling that you're left with, like, yeah, that was a great show.
Yeah.
High fives in the green room after the show. Great show, everybody. You're left with the feeling, but you don't necessarily know
Have the feel. Yeah. Yeah. I
if
totally
it
get it.
really was a good show or if it was just a good feeling. So
Yeah.
I listened back to the whole show, and I was like, this is a banger of a show. And so I went back through the other shows that we had done on that tour and recorded, and I was like, I think this is the one. And so I talked to Renan, and I was just like, hey, what do you think about releasing a live record? It's been, years since I released anything,
Yeah.
and this is a really good show. And it might be a nice sort of re-entry
Yeah.
after my sabbatical.
Yeah. Break people in gently.
Yeah, just like,
So,
hey, remember me?
yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you may have come up with like 10 angry songs, because all you were telling everybody was that fucking Nico keeps me awake. He doesn't sleep. I'm thinking you're going to come back with 10 angry songs, and people are going to go, yeah, that's the Samantha Martin we know. But you're right. Motherhood changes everything. You have the right to sit back and chill and go, do you know what? I need to take stock. And I think that's the right thing to do, because I think if you come back too early, there is the pangs of missing Nico and going, I don't really want to be here in the studio. and you're not giving it your best because you
I
want to come
I
home, you know?
yeah, but I also think that motherhood is such a profound experience, and it changes you in ways that you're not never going to be prepared for. And by giving myself the time, the same way, like when I write songs, I don't write about somebody who cheated on me the day after I found out they cheated on me.
Yeah,
I write about it like 2 years later, because you got to live through it. You got to see the end of the story. How does
yeah,
it end,
yeah,
to be able to reflect back? And
absolutely.
that's sort of the thing. Like I saw like a, and no, no shade, or like no, like no hate towards anybody who does it differently.
Yeah,
But like I noticed a lot of people like during the pandemic were writing songs about the pandemic, and they were kind of like not great.
yeah,
Like a lot of them, some of them maybe were great, but I didn't hear those ones. But like some of them were like kind of not good. And because you're living in it, you haven't lived through it yet.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like those, so motherhood was like that for me. I had to kind of like
Navigate through
live
it.
that
Yeah,
live that part of my life fully, to be able to reflect back on it, or to be able to like move forward from it.
yeah,
And that was sort of where my head was at. And like there wasn't any pressure from the label, because the label's the dad.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
Renan is Gypsy Soul Records, but he's also my partner. So he understood what was going on in the home, and like what was needing to get done, and all that stuff. So there was no pressure from the label to get a new record out.
yeah,
There was pressure from my agents, and to the point where I wasn't working enough, not because I didn't want to work, like as in like play shows. Like I was fully
yeah,
willing, able, and ready to do as many shows as people booked me. I just wasn't feeling inspired to write a new record. But in doing that, in not being able to come up with a new record, well, the old record sort of had its lifespan
yeah,
as far as an agent is concerned. And so he was like, if you don't, like, my agent was like, if you don't get a new record out, then you can't tour. And if you can't tour, you're not earning me money, so you're not worth the time and effort. And I got
yeah.
dropped, you know
Wow,
like
wow.
just based on the financials. Like it wasn't
Yeah,
like a, and the agency and I'm the agency that I was with in Canada, they're huge agency, and they had become bigger because they had amalgamated with another big agency.
right.
And their agents were just overworked, and so they were kind of doing an administrative culling, I
Yeah, pressure,
guess.
pressure,
But
pressure. You need this, we need this.
yeah,
Yeah,
and like just like cutting the dead weight in the roster to make room and time for the artists who were doing it regularly and
yeah.
pulling in the bigger money. And okay, fair enough, but like, would it have killed you to like just left me on a website
Cut me
till
a
I
bit,
got the new
cut me a
record
bit
out?
of slack.
Like, but whatever, okay. And but like that being said, now I have control again. And I find nobody ever works as hard for you as you will for yourself.
Yeah,
So nobody
absolutely.
will advocate for you the way you'll advocate for yourself. And so, things took like a little bit of time to figure out, and now
Yeah.
we're good. We're set, we're ready, we're going for it again. So
So do you have the ideas for the next studio record? Are they recorded? Do you
the
have,
bed tracks are recorded.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the drums, bass, guitar, and key, like piano and whirly Rhodes and organ. And then my scratch vocals, like as in like the guide vocals kind of thing
Yes.
for the
Yeah.
band. Some of them might be keepers, some of them won't be, but
Yeah.
it'll really depend. We'll cross that bridge when we get
Yeah.
to it.
When you
But
come to it. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So
but like the live, it has that live thing because all the guys were in the same room when we were
yeah,
recording it.
doing it.
So
Yeah.
then
Yeah. Yeah.
the bells and whistles, i.e. the background vocals and the horns and the percussion and like
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff will get laid in the coming months we'll
Brilliant.
put those in, and then it'll be 2027 before the
Right.
next
Okay.
record comes out for sure. By
But
the time for
it's worth
public
waiting for.
consumption.
It's worth waiting for at the
Yeah,
end of the
yeah.
day. And obviously I see that the live album has been produced by a good friend of mine, young
Ross?
Ross. Young
Mhm.
Ross, yeah. Him and the boys, they've been over here a couple of times. And we've hung out and we've shared a lot of stuff. They know about my illness and stuff. And when they second last time they played in Scotland, they dedicated a song on one of the sets, which I thought was so sweet. They just, like I give 100% to the artists that I'm dealing with, with the videos and stuff and all of your singles and what have you. And you get a connection to people. You don't just go, yeah, that's another interview off the books. Who's up next?
Exactly.
I don't do that because I like to have my connections. And obviously when I knew the album was coming out, I did the two singles, The Shape I'm In and My Crown, posted them out. And the video again will go all over the world. Australia,
Yeah.
America, Japan, it'll go everywhere. And they'll be like, there's that mad Scottish guy again, not talk to someone else. So these are the good things. These are the good bits that happen. These are the fun times. And like I said at the start, this is where you get the personal touch. We talk
Yeah.
about, life, babies and kids and stuff. And I'm really lucky. My kids are 32, 30, and 29, so they're all old and up and doing their own thing. But having a new baby, it's an incredible experience, you know,
It
you
it
know.
really is. It's vicious though. Like it's sort of a tear you wide open kind of experience. It's
Nothing's
like
left on the table because it's just you are what you are and you do what you do and it is what it is, you
I
know.
it, knowing what I know now, I'm glad I waited.
Yeah,
I'm glad I waited until uh until I'd lived some life.
yeah,
Because like my mom had me when she was 20 and she hadn't lived her life. Like Christ, she'd only been allowed to drink for like a year before she had a kid. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
so I think and then when I was 12, because I was old enough to take care of my younger siblings, she really went off the rails. Like,
Yeah.
like she was partying a lot to the point where she was a full-blown alcoholic. and
Wow.
and I really attributed that sort of to she hadn't got a chance to live her 20s.
Yeah.
She was raising babies, right? So by the time she's 32 to 35, like she's like, well, Sammy
It's,
will take care of
it's
the
party
kids.
time. Yeah, it's party time.
And
Yeah.
she was going out and she was divorced and she's young and on the scene and still a good looking girl. And
Yeah.
she was out partying all the time. And I which has its own problems as the
Uh,
12-year-old who was trying to raise her
Absolutely.
siblings. But and then watching my mom, like she passed away when she was just shy of her 51st birthday.
Wow. Wow.
So
I'm
like,
sorry. I'm sorry to hear that, but you
but
know, you know, it's yeah,
that's where I got this coffee cup. This cup that the coffee cup says "fuck death," and that was after my mom passed.
yeah,
And she passed of cancer as well. She had a metastasized melanoma that just like spread
yeah. It's
all
crazy.
over.
It's crazy.
And she didn't catch it in time, was a big part of it. But that had a lot to do with sort of her lifestyle, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
and
Of course.
and I like it's one of those things where I watched my mom's life almost like a cautionary tale of what not to do.
Yeah.
And did the literally exact opposite.
Yeah. You learn. You learn. I think you learn and you look at stuff and you think, I don't want to be doing that. I could be doing that. I'd like to do this. And I think it's time. It's nice to take time and think about having a child and stuff, because you've got to then intertwine it with your life as being a
Yeah.
musician, and writing at the right time, touring at the right time, and just having everything together. And I take my hat off to young ladies nowadays that do that, because everybody thinks the music industry's mental, it's brilliant, but it's not. It's hard, it's tough, you know.
Yeah.
And like I say, I get the pleasure of chatting with you guys and stuff, and you get to know the real person. And I've been in the industry since 1979, a long, long time. And you see so many changes. You really do,
Yeah.
and how people conduct themselves and what they think's best and what's the easiest thing or the hard route to take,
Yeah.
um, and stuff like yourselves, and people might go, you're putting an album out from 2022, but do you know what? You're making music, you've made music, you're putting it out. It's a taster for people to come back into the fold of
Yeah.
Samantha Martin and her ever growing band members that are just like sprouting everywhere. You know, I'm like, wow, I didn't have enough. This is all my stuff. I didn't have enough in paper to write on. And the band members, I'm like, I'm get writer's cramp, But I guess what you do adds the layers, the sax and the trumpet, and the percussion, and the Hammond organ and stuff, and that brings what you do to life,
Yeah,
So
it's a sonic landscape that what I like to hear to what I like to do kind of thing. So, like when I write songs, especially when I just write songs by myself, it's just me and acoustic guitar. Kind of sounds a little bit country, like it sounds like a
yeah,
traditional. It's like, oh, Willie Nelson's writing a ballad, like that sort of thing. But it's not how I hear it in my head.
no, it never is.
And
It
there,
never
like
is.
when I'm playing, like I'll play the song that I'll write a song and I'll play it on my acoustic guitar, and then I'll record it on my phone so I can like send it to whoever needs to hear it to try to
Yeah,
make it what's coming in my head. And I always listen back to it. I'm like, why do I always sound like I'm writing a country song? Like that, but I think it's the style of writing that I do
yeah. Of
is sort of storytelling in a way.
course it
Like
is.
there's a
Of course it
beginning,
is.
middle, and end kind of to the song, and there's like the amalgamation of the story in the chorus.
Yeah,
And that's sort of how I approach songwriting. So when you play it on an acoustic guitar and it's just me singing
it
away,
sounds totally different. Yeah,
it sounds totally different than it does when you get it to the producers and the band and
yeah,
and I always hear the bells and whistles. Like I hear the band when I'm writing. It's like, okay, and then we'll do like a da 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 kind of
yeah.
thing, right
Sax
there.
comes in and you're like, my head's erupting with all this sound, but it's on a
Yeah.
really guitar, and I think that's great that you can envisage that.
And I can hear, like, I kind of hear the ideas that I have for the background vocals and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Like whether it's call and answer or harmonies or choir-esque kind of stuff. Like
yeah,
I hear all those things, and the problem is sometimes I have a really hard time getting it out of my head and
yeah.
explaining it to the band.
Someone,
And
yeah, to go, you're meant, what do you mean? And you're like, yeah, this is my head. But that's good, because you being the leader, it transforms from you, and people will go, you better do what Samantha says, because this is how it should be done, you
I
know?
mean, I wish it was that simple, but a lot of it is because there's like different personalities in the band,
Yeah,
like some people in the band are really in love with soul music, and other people are more like, great players who can play soul music, but maybe they're heart, like if you ask them what they're listening to in the van,
yeah,
it might be different than,
yeah,
whereas like when I listen to music, it's soul, funk,
yeah,
R&B. Like I listen to the type, or like rock and roll, old school rock and roll. I listen to the type of music that I play,
yeah,
kind of thing. Whereas I think some of the members in the band are not quite like that. Like
yeah,
like there's some people who listen to like, you know, like hip hop and that sort of stuff. And then there's people who listen to country music and folk
Yeah,
music, and some people who like more like pop music
yeah.
and that sort of thing. So when I give certain songs, they're like, well, it's kind of nice, just like broken down and like uh
Step back. Yeah,
acoustically.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And I'm like, but that's not me. That's my limitation.
Yeah, maybe
You
have to
know, like,
step back, Samantha, and just go, yeah, this is what it's all about.
yeah,
So,
but and that's great that the songs sort of stand on their own without all the bells and whistles, which I
yeah,
think is really important. But it's like, I think sometimes the band is like hoping that I'll scale back so that there's more money to go around. You know,
no,
like they're like, we could do this as a four piece. And it's
yeah,
like, yeah, but
no,
I
no.
don't want
You
to.
have to have the full, you have to have the full accompaniment of sound that you feel is coming from your head.
Yeah.
And if it takes 12 people, it takes 12. Do you know, if it takes four, it takes four, but you've got to get it right. Do you know,
But
and I think that's the most important thing.
I don't know who said it first, but I heard it when we were recording um like this new record, and I was like, oh yeah, Renan's like a maximalist producer, you know, like everything goes on it, right? When it comes to recording. And he was like, well, if less is more, imagine how much more could be.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know?
Open the
So
door and there's like 50 musicians like, look at this is how it's going to be. And people are like,
he has that sort of thing in him where he's got a little too much of that Phil Spector wall of sound
yeah,
kind of,
yeah,
you know. And we do rein him in, where like there's many times where I'm like, do we really need a six-piece, you know, string section?
yeah.
You know,
Maybe
is that
use
really
four. Yeah,
necessary?
yeah,
Can we not, you know, like
absolutely.
maybe Mellotron, you know, like you know, like maybe we don't need to
Don't be
spend.
don't be skipping on the musicians, Samantha. We need
I don't mean
more.
to, but I mean at some point the budget does come into play.
Yeah, of course it does.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And on that, are you planning to try and get to Britain at some point?
absolutely.
Is
Yeah.
that
Yeah, I mean, we've got some interest for May 2027.
okay?
So it's a year from now. So hopefully, like, you'll still be with us fighting the good fight.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. So
Because just imagine how pissed off I'd be that I've been doing this all this time and talking to you, and then I go and fucking die, and you're like, shit, shit, we never made it in time.
well,
Shit.
and you know what? I don't know how to fix that, but I'll be there as soon as I can. But
Listen,
I'll
that's
make sure that the UK specifically, you're in Glasgow, right?
yeah, in
Yeah.
Scotland. Yeah,
Yeah. So specifically Glasgow,
yeah. Start the world tour there first, and then go wherever the hell you want. But come to me first, so that I,
just in case.
so it's on my bucket list, and I don't, and I'm not of this world when you come, and you'll go shit. We should have came 6 months earlier. But you know, I'm hanging in there. I'm doing my thing. I'm keeping well can be. And I just look forward to actually yourself coming over and spreading the love because
Yeah.
that's what makes it. It really does, Samantha. It really makes it. You know, when you listen to a record, you go because you know a lot of people will say. I say to people, "We heard this artist, we heard this artist, we heard this band." They're like, "No," and this is why we're so lucky as reviewers and interviewers and PR companies that we get to hear stuff that no one's heard of.
Yeah.
And then when I go to a show and I put a video up with the commoners and people are going, who's that? The commoners, they're awesome. And people are going, I'm going to go and see them. I'm going to buy a record. So that's the kind of thing that I do when I go to shows and stuff, you know. And I'll always tell people I was interviewing so and so and so and so and so and so. Never heard of them. Check them out. They'll be great. And this is what
Yeah.
it's good for, you know. So um, just try and get here as soon as you can. And we'll have a drink and we'll talk about it and
Sounds good.
we'll have a bit of a laugh. So I obviously know you've got stuff to do, but I could talk to you all day, you know, because it's
The
just
only thing I have to do, Darren, is my taxes.
well, you have to make sure you've got enough money to make the record. So get the taxes done. And 'cause I don't want to zoom in you. I don't want to be zooming you for prison. when you've not done your taxes. That'll be a
Yeah,
laugh.
the government doesn't like it when you don't do your taxes.
Well, you've got to keep on
They
the right side.
But I don't know why they're coming for me. Like they always owe me money because as a typical musician, more money out than money in 90% of the time. And like the few times where I've owed some money, it's been pretty small amounts of money, like we're talking
Yeah,
about, a couple hundred to like $1,000 kind of thing. And I'm like, I don't know how many roads you think my tax money is going to pay,
yeah, yeah,
but
absolutely. They're maybe thinking you haven't made a record for 6 years. We're just going to pound on you till you make a new record, and then we'll
yeah,
leave you alone. So you've got to look at it that way. It's
yeah,
so you got to get the thinking hat on.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
listen,
it'll be good because there's lots of money coming out right now. Let's just
yeah,
say
yeah.
that.
But listen, I wish you every success with the beautiful buzz when it comes out. Keep me informed of the new album and kind of how it's coming along, and then let me know when you're going to come to my beautiful city, and we can hang out and chill and talk
Yep.
about kids and shit and all that
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
absolutely. And if anything's getting super dire over there, let me know and I'll send you a sneak peek at the new record.
brilliant. That's fantastic. I can't wait, guys. This is Darren from Jace Media Music, and a candid interview with one of the best voices in Canadian blues, soul, gospel, R&B, Samantha Martin, saying best of luck with the album, May
Thank you.
22nd. Keep me informed of new stuff, and hope you have a great day.
Thank you, Darren. You too.
You take care, Samantha. Lovely to speak to you.
Bye, hun. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, we will. Obviously, we'll get I'll keep you informed of everything and kind of what's happening and what have you.
Yeah.
But the new medication is just it's crazy stuff. It's just like ravaging my body, but it's helping.
It's
Um,
strange feeling, isn't it?
yeah, people say every time I was out last night at a show last night, I was out at Kettle last night, and everybody's like, "Wow, you look really good." I thought you were dying. I'm like, I am. But I say to people, because it's not in my liver and my lungs and my kidneys, I'm still the same shape. I'm not losing any weight.
Yeah.
And I had no hair about 4 months ago. It all came out, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
God, wearing hats and shit and stuff. And then they took me off of the chemo, and then all of a sudden they gave me this tablet, and it was like I was like a cabbage patch still. It's stuff out now. I'm like, what the fuck?
You
So
know, there was a weird thing. So my father-in-law had they did like a bone marrow transplant because he had blood cancer, right?
yeah,
So they did a bone marrow transplant and they like killed everything with chemo, good cells, bad cells, everything was gone. And then they got a donor bone marrow.
wow.
His eye color changed. He had stick straight hair for his entire life, and then all of a sudden it was curly.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's
Crazy.
crazy. It's
Cancer does everything to you.
crazy. Like his eyes went from blue to brown
Wow. Wow.
just with the stem cell transplant and bone marrow transplant. Like
Incredible, isn't it?
like it's amazing what science can do. And I hope that it's working hard for you.
Yeah, it is, Sam. But I'll keep you informed anyway, and we'll keep in touch. I'll
Yeah.
message you from time to time and stuff, and we can keep plans about the new record and what have you. But I hope are you going out on tour at any point?
Well, this summer we've got a few shows booked and we're working on booking in May of 2027 forward for the new record. So we're not going to do too much touring, I think,
Yeah,
in the fall, maybe a little bit, but it's also kind of past the time to book those sorts of
yeah,
things, I
because it's
think.
getting into festival season now anyway. Yeah, but keep me
Yeah,
informed, and
I will.
we'll keep chatting. I'll let you know when the video's up. We can get it out there and keep Mr. Noble happy. He'll be all dancing and singing because we've got another video out. And I'll speak to you soon.
Sounds good, Darren. Take care of
Take care,
yourself.
honey. Take
Okay,
care. Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.